Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host, Valerie, and my sometime co-hosts, Miss Purrington and Mookie, are back at home safely. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, our advice column Rochelle takes on comedy, our upcoming festivals page listing, which lists festivals from across the country and the world, and our 2023 FPIA contest page is live posting results as they happen. We're best known for our events page for live comedy shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW, where 100% of the entries you see come from comics and producers. If you want your show featured on the calendar, click Submit a Show from the top of the homepage or Events page to complete the short survey. It's free and easy. Tag us on your Instagram stories and we'll share your show promo to our Instagram followers. Want to support these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Click the Support CW icon on our homepage to see the ways that you can help us. Now back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and we usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today, we are talking to the longtime co-hosts of Sure Thing. They just celebrated their 500th show.
Woo!
Yeah.
Ooh.
They run Sure Thing Records. They were my very first interview guests. And it is a tradition to sit down together for our anniversary at Comedy Wham, to talk about the Austin comedy scene and beyond. But this year, we're not celebrating. We're shedding tears as the duo have decided to hang up the lights with the 512th, aka 512, show on October 6th. And now Comedy Wham presents our guests, Duncan, Carson, and Brendan K. O'Grady. And there's another person in the room who shall remain nameless.
I don't think that really matters.
Okay.
It's Travis,
There we
everybody.
go.
It's
Travis.
Travis. It's Travis, the one and only. Have you ever been on mic on this show before?
It
Once or
has
twice?
been a very long
yeah.
time.
No, I seem to recall once or twice.
Yeah.
I think once with
Once
us.
with you guys.
Yeah.
Once when I
That was
was
3
there.
times.
Yeah. Because
I
I
think
did
it was-
I did one solo and I remember he was on the
Okay. All right.
Okay, then it's been more than 3 times.
Yeah.
Our baby boy's
Because-
growing up.
Yeah. That's honestly, and we don't have to recap the whole thing, but you're about to go to college and we went on a long tangent about the liberal arts, and when you said I'm going to study engineering, I was like, thank God.
Yeah, everyone at the table breathed a sigh of
yeah,
relief on
especially
your
me.
behalf. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not subsidizing this anymore.
Yeah.
Just it's like if I've hosted an open mic, or like this one guy we did a show in Dallas and he asked me all these questions in like 2014, and then later he moved here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shit, did our conversation influence like your actual life? I can't be accountable
man.
for that.
I think people in Dallas have plenty of reason to move to Austin. I don't think it has anything to do with us. It's fine.
We missed your 500th show.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Well, we've seen you since then. It's
Yeah.
okay.
How was it?
It was great. It was sold out,
Yep.
which is, not nothing you can take for granted post pandemic, and
Yeah.
especially with I think we counted like 6 or 7 dedicated stand up comedy venues, all downtown now. So happy to fill that out. And now that the dog days of summer are starting to we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? School's back in session, ticket sales are back up again, and it was a great show. But we of course missed you because you've been so kind to come to so many of our little landmarks in the past.
Yeah. It was a bummer. I think
Milestones.
It was
I think this was when we were in Chicago, so we, you know.
It was honestly really fun to do because every June is like our birthday of the show.
Yeah.
And every year, we're just like, should we do anything like special? We're just like, whatever. Like, so we've never really had just a like, hey, it's a milestone show, and it's sold out. A lot of people have said nice things about it. It was fun.
Yeah, it's been great. And then, of course, we were holding on to this news. I do feel like I have to apologize because we met, I think it was in January.
Yeah,
that was the
yeah.
last time we spoke on mic, and we had to lie to your face. I had to pretend that I knew we were gonna, that I didn't know we were going to wrap it up. But we've been talking about it for a little while, and the official reason is I'm moving for my job.
Yeah.
You know, I have to make a real living doing something, and you know, there's a million other things that go into it, and just knowing kind of when's the right time is the right time. But it's something that we've been talking about for a while. Just figuring out, you know, how do you not outstay your welcome when you've been doing it for over a decade, you know? So
We didn't plan to do it this long, but here we are.
that's true. That's very true. None of this should be happening.
Which isn't to say we had like a plan to go out at some point. Just, I would say if you asked us in 2012, like, how long will this show go on?
Yeah, we'd be like, yeah, a few more years for
Like
sure.
three, maybe.
Yeah, well, we
three
would've been
would be
like,
a great run. Yeah.
we would have been like, well, we'll do it for as long as we can, and we
Yeah.
did.
We
And
did.
We have.
And you were gluttons for punishment because when Austin Java shut down, you could have said, we got those Sure Thing records. We'll use that to keep busy.
We sure could have.
Yeah, no, but there's also something about like wanting to kind of go out on your own terms and the way things ended
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
with like. Yeah, with them just calling us in and saying like, hey, we only make money for like a couple of morning shifts and during your show.
During the show.
And you know, I don't know if you know much about the coffee shop business, but Saturday night not usually peak business hours. So that location wasn't doing the numbers they wanted, and it just we definitely knew we were. I mean, at that point we were like felt like we had so much momentum, and it was just like. It was heartbreaking to think that we were just gonna be done because the venue closed. But it was a journey to. I mean, it felt like 10 months in the wilderness before things worked out with Fallout, and we're so glad it did because it was perfect. But
Yeah, and allowed you to make a little bit of income to, or how should I say this? There was money coming in from ticket sales as opposed to relying on whatever the coffee shop was willing to share. I mean, it's all
Duncan,
sharing. Yeah.
If we did the math, did we make more money when the show was free and we were getting paid by the show? I think we cleared a little more actually.
Really?
Honestly,
Well, they gotta keep the lights on here, man. Like
Yeah,
this is an institution. You know?
well, honestly, if you factor in, because Austin Java, we had a $100 tab.
That's true. Yes.
Where so like, especially there were periods in my life where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get some food and take some food to go,
That food was good.
and it was it was pretty good food.
Everyone
I don't
did.
think I ever tried the food.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh, it was a
did.
good restaurant. Yeah.
That's a shame.
You missed out. So yeah, I think if you factor in that tab, we probably made more there, because we got like a flat rate every week
Okay.
as essentially like part of the sales, and now here we are dependent on taking
Yeah.
sales. But we've had some good stretches here. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's very nice that that the way things ended up, we're gonna do almost exactly the same number of shows in each of the two venues.
It's about half and half.
Yeah.
Which is cool because like there was definitely a while when we first moved here that I was adjusting to it's not a free show anymore, it's a ticketed show, the vibe is different, the audience expectation is different. It just wasn't the same thing, and I'm such a creature of habit, and I was very partial to what we had going on in the space that was like fully DIY and the way things grew organically. So I feel like I was almost unfairly comparing the shows here to the previous ones. And
Yeah.
with a long enough timeline, I now really treasure the time that we've had here. I'm glad that we have the kind of same number of shows because I'm really going to have like a lot of memories of both eras.
Yeah.
I've got my favorite moments and stories and memories from the first 5 years, and then, just as many now from the second 5 years.
I'd also say like if Fallout hadn't come a calling, because they invited us to talk about it, Bobby Segovia, when the time came, because like we spent that 10 months like I don't know if we looked at a couple of venues where the prospect would be much like Austin Java, starting the only comedy show there and getting a whole new thing off the ground, and we were just like I don't know if we can muster up that sort of energy. So to just kind of hit the ground running at a comedy venue is the best way to do it.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
And get another 5 years out of it.
Yeah.
Not count, even without the pandemic. It was 6 years ago now.
And I don't think any of us knew how it was going to go because, picture the Fallout ownership and what they stepped into, transforming this place and, in some ways rebuilding a new audience and turning over all the programming and everything. I mean, all the credit in the world to the staff, of course, and more than anybody, the owners for putting so much of their, time and love and, money into this place.
Yeah.
So. I mean, they made it a place that could sustain our show, and they might even say help vice versa, like it was a mutually beneficial relationship. But I know from my side of things, like we were definitely starting to not give up hope, but like just starting to question, like, are we ever gonna find a venue? Maybe not. Like, yeah, we were getting ready for the hiatus to last a lot longer than it was. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was one of the standout pieces of information and quotes from the Chronicle piece that I did about the fallout, and how Bobby
Comedy.
he said, like, having a stand-up showcase hosted at Fallout Theater was like a really big deal for their overall programming, because they had been traditionally well known for sketch and improv. I know they did some open mics as well, but having a showcase and a well-known one at that was beneficial for them.
Yeah, some people are tuning into this and their recent transplants to Austin, and
No
they
idea
think,
what we're talking
and
about.
well, they think, oh, couldn't they have just done it at the Comedy Mothership?
Yeah.
Couldn't they have just done it at the Sunset Strip? This shit didn't exist, folks.
Roscoe's.
There was no comedy. There was no comedy scene until the people who were here. Well, there was. I mean, nothing like it was now until the people who have been here for 15 plus years started their rooms. And once again, the people who took over this space had a job, a big turnaround to do in front of them. I mean, they were in a hole. I don't know about financially, but like they were in a hole just in terms of like public perception and reputation, and nobody liked the people who ran this place before, and they've worked minor miracles, and then it's just crazy to me that this venue is one of the ones to not only survive COVID but come back thriving compared to a lot of other venues. I mean, affordability is going to be an issue for everybody down the line, but just couldn't be more proud of the people at Fallout and everything they've done here.
Yeah, for sure. What has been the reaction from people that come to the show a lot now that the cat's out of the bag, that you're wrapping up with 512, but also comics who have been booked on your show over the history of time, reaching out and saying, what?
That's, I would say, there's an old guard sort of reaction that is like uniformly bummed.
Yeah. Yeah,
because like a Doug Mellard, I think I saw him the other day, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm so bummed out the show, man." I'm like, "Yeah, me too, dude." Or even like McCrae said it to us, where he's like, "You guys remember to book me," and I was like, "Well," because it is, I think with so much turnover, it's been nice for a lot of other people we still know to not have to like go to mics or send us clips or whatever, But yeah, there's been a lot of people that they're like, oh, that was my first set or my first headline, and a certain amount of sentimentality about it, and that's been very heartening, I'd say.
It is very lovely, and the truth is, one of the things I just didn't really expect about having been in one stand-up scene for as long as we've been, let alone running a show for as long, is that I became a stand-up comic by doing this show, right? Like I started out doing stand-up here, and I was brand new to stand-up. I'd done other kinds of comedy in my younger years, but like I started out and was dog shit and learned how to do it the whole time that we were doing the show. And there are a lot of comics who, went to the old open mic at Austin Java, and that's where we first saw them, and they got, did 10 minutes at our show, and then here we are a year later to whatever it is, and they headlined the show. And I didn't really anticipate how many of those people there were going to be, and a lot of them have been really kind and effusive in they've said some nice things, and there actually are quite a few show regulars who we had to say goodbye to people who came every week when we became a ticketed show, because you should not be spending $200 a month on this show. And that's understandable, but there are a lot of people who still make it a point to come really regularly. We see people sometimes, as often as every other week, some people.
Sure, yeah.
And they've also, of course, been really kind. And, the thing to remember, though, for everybody is, like, comedy's going to go on. This comedy scene is we've just played some role in it over the course of the time we're here. At moments, that role maybe was a little more outsized than it is right now. And it's great that there's more comedy here than ever. There can be a stronger scene than ever. there's a lot to negotiate between all the the problems that come with affordability and who's moving here and who's doing comedy and what audience they're chasing. And there's a lot of bullshit and a lot of bad, non-art masquerading as like, we're just here to have a good time, man. But the fact is, the raw materials exist here for the scene to continue growing and becoming better than ever, And
I think what's fascinating about it emotionally is because whatever last week, I think Hunter Duncan was closing out and said some nice things about, it was his last headline of it, and it was his first one too. He posted all week about it, and he said more things when we wrapped up. And then I went to hang out at a bar after where there's a lot of comedy people, and several of those comedy people were like, "Hey, who are you? How long have you lived here?"
Oh my gosh!
Because they're regulars at Roscoe's and all the other places. It's perfectly reasonable,
Yeah.
So these things all happen at the same time now.
Yes, and it's important, to everything there is a season, turn, and our time couldn't be forever, I've said it before, but it's not good for a stand-up comedy scene to have one show that's like the cool, good show, it needs to be, other shows have to rise and become the hip, fun thing and generate their own heat and, find their own audiences and things like that. That's a sign of a good comedy scene. In some ways, I feel like we're dinosaurs that are just doing things our way this whole time. And, some other dinosaurs are glad that we remember to book them because we've been around long enough that we know them. But, there are so many great comedians here and so many more that are coming up, and they don't need us. They don't need our show to be what they become. We're just lucky enough that we got to play that role for some people in the time we were here.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have liked the dinosaur to stick around because I always knew if I was coming to a Sure Thing show, I was promised a good time.
Well, we did our best.
It's right there in the name.
Sure thing. Even though not inspired by the movie.
Nope.
Is a movie?
Still not. Don't. Man.
Oh, God. Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Dave Ives?
No. So the short play, the one-act play by David Ives. That is that is where the name came from, and it's because we were trying to name. We've told the story too many times.
Paging through a book of things for looking for a name.
Yeah.
There's a John Cusack movie called
called
The Sure Thing. Yeah, from the 80s.
Yes.
So don't.
Well, I've watched a lot of 80s movies.
Well, this one isn't like, it's not even saying anything like
it's not bad.
It's lesser.
I think it's better than saying anything, but
what?
I think Camera Crow sucks. So
well, we don't have time for that.
No, we don't. Tell me about Sure Thing Records and what's going on with that, because you've got a Mac Blake recording in the bank.
It's back, baby.
It's back. This will be. Depending on when this comes out, there will be multiple releases coming out soon.
Ooh.
Indeed,
that's exciting.
Yes, I think we can say Mac Blake's album record. Well, the last time we were here, we said we're going to record his record in February, and now we have a release show Saturday, September 30th. It's coming out, and Mac's going to do a show here, and we're going to be giving away copies of Bird Drugs, and telling jokes and having fun, and then. We definitely have Avery Moore's record coming.
Nice.
So we're actually going to be doing kind of a as is, like if you were there, you remember what a special night it was. And we're not even going to bother trying to polish it up so much. Like it was a long, fun set, and we're going to put out the Avery Moore Live at the Spider House Ballroom record.
January 2020.
Yeah, the last good night of our lives.
So that would actually be a decent title.
I pitched it.
Yeah. But that's sort of like half the idea, because she wants to. We're going to talk to her about re-recording a new thing earlier next year. So, but to just put this one out is like, remember that? And then the world ended?
Yeah, it's been banked, and like I feel so bad because she really got just the worst end of the timing of the pandemic and stuff. Like, some things were far enough along, like Palumbo's record came out while things were locked down, but we were already so far into we were so close to finishing it already, But Avery's, like, it was just one of those things where she had this culmination of her time doing stand-up and recorded all this great material, and some of it was sort of topical and some of it wasn't. But then everything shuts down, and she lost her job, like I lost my job, and a lot of people lost their jobs.
Yeah, me too.
So much life happened in that time, and it just really threw a spanner in the works,
Yeah.
And there was some question on like, well, like, do you want to just re-record this stuff? Do we want to just take another shot at it? And but now we're at the point where, you know, Avery's Avery. She's too funny not to have more stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So she's thinking about recording more stuff, and let's put this other thing out. So if you were there, you know, it was truly one of the most fun nights I've ever had. Like just watching a comedy show. It was such a blast, totally packed, hot crowd at the ballroom. And if you weren't there, guess what? You're going to get to join in the magic.
Hear the
soon.
whole night, front to back.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay.
And then beyond that, hopefully more records. But, you know. Yeah, so Sure Thing Records will remain a going concern. And I will no longer live in the state of Texas, but I hope to have reasons to come back. So we're hopefully going to be still putting them, still be Austin focused, and still be working with comics to help them realize their dreams.
Yeah.
And national, because that's been part of your Sure Thing collection, as well as getting some national.
You never know. Maybe this guy will meet some Portland people.
Yeah, it does. It just depends on the person and what they need and everything. Although when we did have a conversation about wanting to be more stay Austin focused, just because it was really how everything started. Like the idea really did come from being like, you know, anyone can just record themselves and put it on Spotify. Anyone can, right? Yeah. So like, what is the purpose of even having a production label in a digital media environment? And the answers are twofold. Number one, it's fun to make things with your friends and have people you trust who can bounce ideas off and just help you with things. You know, a lot of people, comics are neurotic people or just have a hard time making decisions. So, you know, being in a group environment with trusted people, that can help. But second is to hopefully make a platform that says, hey, here is comedy from Austin, you know, not just a random voice in the wilderness, but like part of a scene, part of a place that where you came up as a comic, and a place where, you know, people have their own style of stand up. It's not New York-y. It's not, you know, LA-y. This is Austin comedy, you know? So that's always been a priority for us, and we definitely want to maintain that. But you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
We got 2 records coming out. Isn't that enough? Yeah, we'll
What do you
more.
want?
We'll do more, I promise.
Okay, fine.
Can I ask a question?
Of course, buddy.
Of course.
Okay, I was actually wondering, have you like done research into like what the comedy scene in Portland is like? Like looked into that at all?
Well, let me restate. I am moving for work, so the decision is not made exclusively for comedy.
Oh yeah,
but I probably wouldn't have picked a town that didn't have a comedy scene. You know, the truth is, we've had a lot of friends from up there who are no longer there anymore, and you know, they've had some amazing comics coming out of there. But like people that I was friendly with or have known over the years, you know, Curtis Cook is gone, Shane Torres is gone. You know, Bridgetown is no longer there. They don't do Bridgetown anymore, so there's not that kind of like central event that the whole comedy calendar is organized around. But
this guy will start it back up in like 2 months.
Oh my god,
He's gonna go stir crazy.
I am not starting a show in a new town, but you know, but a part of me is hoping.
Yeah.
There's definitely comedy going on. It's just one of those like kind of it's in a quiet cycle right now until it produces lots more great comedy, right? So
yeah,
part of the decision making did come down to like, well, you know, I'll be in a new town, and you know, having stand up is a reason to go check out this bar I've never been to and go to a different part of town and stuff. So I am looking forward to going somewhere where I can just be a comic, not guy who produces a stand-up show and has a part-time job doing it every week, you know? So, you know, we'll see. But I'm also just turned 41 yesterday. It was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I still love doing stand-up, but I have to figure out what I want stand-up to be, you know, when I'm at a different age, you know? Like, life is long and there's more stuff to do, and I don't have any interest in doing this like to be in the entertainment business, you know. So what am I going to want to do? We'll find out. We'll find out. This show has been my guiding principle and organized so much of my life, and especially my comedy life, that I'm just kind of eager to see what it looks like when I just have kind of an open road in front of me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I get that.
You ever been to Portland before,
Nope.
Travis?
No, we haven't.
You want to come visit?
Wouldn't be opposed.
All right. Okay. Well,
I wouldn't be opposed.
Okay. All right. There was a shrug that came with that too, in case you were wondering how ringing that endorsement was.
Let's get wistful here. What are you going to miss the most about doing the show? Nothing.
sports guy.
I knew we were both going to say this. Truly, it's
Yeah.
just hanging out with my best friend every week.
Oh.
That's really what it comes down to. And we talked about this a lot because there's a lot of hemming and hawing and mental anguish that went into the conversation about like, hey, like we can see an end on the horizon. When's it going to come? And truly, what was hardest about it, and what I think we both realized over the process of that is that the only reason this kept going is because it's just good to see my best bud every week, and it's the thing that makes sure that we get to hang out and do stuff, and it's been fun. It's been fun since he moved back to town. Now that he's actually in town, we've had a nice little run going of we do the show and then you come over and we
crash out, watch random Simpsons episodes.
Yeah, and so we've been able to hang out a little bit more and spend more time together, knowing that we're not going to be in town together anymore.
It is really just like, and I think about this a lot as my life goes through different shapes and jobs and significant others or whatever. But like a big appeal of comedy is you just kind of don't have to worry about either having friends or having plans or making them. So to just be spoiled for 11, 12 years, like. Because the first year that I lived here, we were hanging out 3-4 times a week or whatever.
Oh yeah, still miking.
We had a podcast ourselves for a little while, and then the show was the thing, and we've never really had to make an effort to hang out more than once a week or less than once a week.
Except during the pandemic.
Sure.
And it wasn't easy.
No.
Like we were trying to figure out a project to do together because he was out of state and stuff. Yeah. So it is going to be hard. I will say also that extends to all the comics that we invite onto the show, and we've really made more of an effort, knowing in the last year and a half or so, knowing that there was going to be an ending, to be like, all right, a lot of booking considerations now are going to come down to who do we want to hang out with.
Yeah.
So people don't have to say nice things about the show, to be invited on. Usually it's someone that we want to hang out with. And
well, if they're hearing it now, we're out of spots.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that I will definitely miss not just seeing you every week, but it was a reason it was a way to stay socially engaged with people. I started doing stand up when I was 30, or almost 30, I didn't get my social life out of this. I had to work this into my life. Mm-hmm. And so having the show was a great way to see a lot of comics that I wouldn't necessarily otherwise see if I wasn't on a show with them that week, Luckily they were here. So I'll definitely miss that too.
In the crowds.
They're
number
course,
2.
Of course. At some point, here's the truth. Here's the absolute truth, right? The crowds don't need us. There's comedy. There's plenty of other things to go do.
It's true.
And I don't need the crowd. Truthfully, we need a crowd.
Yeah,
but it doesn't have to be those people. So there are some specific people like y'all who have been wonderful friends to the show and have had a real we've literally watched Travis grow up. We've literally watched Travis grow up. And that's wonderful. But no, it's about those people. It's about the people you have a relationship with, and that's people like you. That's the comics we know and love, and that's each other.
Yeah. And what will you not miss?
Ooh.
Oh, where to start? Just not having. The answer is not having to do it every single week, and it's cool to do 500 of something. It's cool to do 512 of something. It also, but when we've told people, some out of towners have come to do the show and we're like, this is show number 499. Like, whoa, how do you do that? I was like, you do it every week.
Just keep doing it.
Every week, unless there's a world historical plague that makes you stop or your venue closes unexpectedly, you do it every week. And the thing about every week is it's every week.
Yeah, you've made a big promise about that.
Yeah, so it's
Christmas. New
yeah,
Year's,
and it's
UT games.
It's worked.
Sure.
No one show that, but it's worked out. But my poor wife, how much time she's given up. Yeah. Well, for a while it was Saturdays.
Yeah.
Oh right,
and we were both working. 5, 6, 7 days a week. So just not having to do it and. There's still a lot of physical labor that goes into the show. There's a lot of energy and time that goes into booking, and
I'll say the curtains is probably home is the
Oh
curtains.
God, those fucking curtains, the bane of my existence at this point.
7 more times, put those up there.
And they're getting more tattered and raggedy,
Yeah.
and so I have to hide that by like draping them certain ways. There's holes in them that keep them from hanging up properly, and they're falling apart. And it actually almost feels like the show is only gonna last as long as the curtains last.
Yeah.
Yeah. So doing shit like that. I mean, we hang the lights every single week. We pick them up, we put them up, we take them down, all that stuff. It is labor, and it's work that we don't take a lot of money from. Just records and weed, pretty much. That's all we really buy for ourselves with the show. But yeah, there's a lot of things that come with it, but it's mostly just the sheer commitment. And I've said this to Duncan a million times. What keeps you going is once you do so much of it, I knew, I only get to keep doing this for as long as I keep doing it. And that's been fun. That is inertia, right? But at some point you're ready to be an object at rest.
One of my burning questions is, what is happening with those lights, those world famous lights?
I was going to ask the same thing.
Are they even famous? You know how many comics we've had on who do not realize we decorate the stage? They just fucking assume
Somebody,
it's
I
fallouts?
won't name the person, but somebody was like, they had done the show several months before.
Many times, yeah.
And they were like, I didn't even realize there were lights back there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I
Especially.
never noticed the drapes. I didn't realize there were special curtains.
Have you been to a show here other than our show?
Yeah.
It's an improv theater, bro.
just
They
like
got
a
they got a fucking Our Town
wooden thing with a window in it.
yeah. There's
Yeah,
a
I don't know why I
the
just,
farmer
like-
and the cowboy poke should be friends set deck up there.
Then us putting up the curtains has accomplished exactly why we do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You fucking planned it.
Yeah.
But
love it.
there are curtains behind the little window. You can just
No.
No, you
No?
can't. No, because they're several
stuck?
feet behind it.
Oh, they.
Oh.
and they're anchored to the wall.
Oh, they made some noise when we came here about having some sort of retractable thing that we could, but we've just been tossing up curtains for 6 years.
I'm not laying this at their feet.
Uh,
They gave us the curtains.
Certainly. They provided
was-
the curtains.
Yeah.
But,
So what's going to happen to the arrows, Duncan?
I'm going to keep them in my attic of my little tiny house. Yeah.
Yeah. When you say attic, you mean where you sleep?
No, there's on the other side, there's storage
Oh, amazing.
Up in-
Duncan lives in a tiny house.
in the other
It's a
nook.
little tiny house.
But yeah, he's moving. But obviously we might keep the arrows around in case there's like a record release show or some
that
sort of
makes sense.
special thing. So yeah,
I do hope to come back
Yeah.
and do one-off sure things here and there. If we can do 1 or 2 a year, that'd be great.
But they are sure thing only. So I'm gonna keep them just in case we do some sort of special event.
Very
Yep.
cool.
Where did you get those arrows, by the way?
The Austin Antique Mall up off 183 and like Bernadish, probably not far from where you live now.
Not that far, but
Yeah, didn't plan
never
on
seen him before. Never
didn't
seen him
plan on
since.
arrows, but went with the intention of finding something cool.
It's true, Duncan. Yeah, we were talking about can we decorate the stage somehow?
Maybe a
And-
light up S and a T,
It's 100% him.
because you see those light up marquee type
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
and I saw the arrows instead. Yeah,
Nice. The creative touch.
spent most of the money I had at the time.
How much did they cost?
I think they were like $40 each.
Oh boy,
So that was more like
that was a lot of money for us at that
a
time.
lot of money for me in
Me
2012.
too. Oh
yeah.
my god, are you kidding? I was still at the draft house.
Yeah.
I was making milkshakes on the morning shift. Brutal.
Yikes.
I was all freelance at that point in time.
Do you have another question you want to ask?
no, not at the moment.
Zeros.
Oh, all right.
Sure.
I want to ask a future-looking question. Let's fast forward to 10 years in the future,
Oh.
Austin comedy scene. Who knows what it's going to look like?
Really got far afield here, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think what would you like people to say about the Sure Thing showcase that ran for 11 years?
I mean, if anybody even remembers it at that point, that's a huge W.
Yeah.
If those words escape anyone's lips in 10 years, that's amazing. I mean, we have a more ephemeral culture than we ever have. Everything's digital, everything is content, everything goes in one ear and out the other in real time. And that's fine. like I don't have to be the words the dying words on someone's lips on their deathbed, you know. Like it's okay, like, you know, this can just be a thing.
Yeah.
This can just be a thing that we had together when we had it, you know.
Well, and that's always been, because we joke around week to week sometimes, like, why are we still doing this? Because our careers never really took off otherwise, right? And that's partially true, I suppose. But it's also just been like a product of our friendship and a certain, I want to say, modesty of ambition. Even that. Just this is what we wanted to do, is run a good show that put on, like, that provided all the comics here for its time a great platform. And so hopefully for the next several years, people will talk about it like we talk about Punch and so on and so forth. But 10 years from now, yeah, that'd be a reach. I don't know.
The best legacy I can imagine would be if comics who have some kind of sentimental attachment to the show, right? If they're running shows, if they took any observations or lessons from the show they liked doing, and they make their show better from it, because that's how we did this. You know, like, I mean, Punch is the show that if it didn't exist, we probably would not have made this show. Would not be what it is. It just wouldn't be. And in some ways, I feel really grateful to just be like in a chapter in the story, right? Like and one part for a time in the conversation. But when you're done with that chapter, you keep going. You keep going on to the further chapters. And if someone mentions it again, cool. But you don't have to be a callback in someone's story. Part of what I really like about comedy and stand-up in particular is that it really is a form where the magic is in the room, you know? And you can make oh, baby boy Bus, Garrett Bus poking his head in. Hi, Garrett, say hi.
Just wanted to hi.
Hi.
Hi. Just wanted to make sure everything's going good.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's a solid recording.
Yeah,
line.
we're now
That's-
pointing and making sure that the red light means recording.
Levels are good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Expertly set up.
And if I know this show, this part will not be cut around.
That is correct.
No. To finish a thought, part of what I love about stand-up comedy is that it's the magic of what happens in the room, right? And we do our best with recordings to present a facsimile of that, right? And kind of help translate the feeling of what the audience was enjoying about it in the room. But everybody at this table certainly knows, anybody who's been to a stand-up comedy show knows that part of what makes it so special is the energy you're feeling that night. And sometimes the crowd sucks and it's not as fun. And sometimes everyone's super hot and it's extra fun. And if you weren't there, it's over. The recording you're going to get is just one example of how that sounded. But this joke has killed some nights and eaten shit another night. And what's it going to do tonight? or you know, is it going to do really well or a little bit well? Whatever. Those the margin of difference in all those things is where the magic is. And if you weren't there, you weren't there. And if you didn't go to Sure Thing, you had 11 years, now it's gone.
Yep.
So go see another great show. Magic is happening tonight, you know, 10 years from now. And so I don't need to be in the history books. I mean, if anyone remembers this at all, that is I'm overjoyed, truly.
I think a lot of people are gonna remember Sure Thing. At least I will.
I love you. I love you too, buddy.
I've been to too many shows not to remember.
I know, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Half
So have
his
you.
life? Yeah, I mean, you guys, I've told you this a million times. You are my therapy,
I know.
recovery from divorce. So.
I know. By the way, did you ever go to actual therapy?
No, not after the divorce. No.
Okay.
I only needed comedy.
Travis, should she have gone to actual therapy?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm glad we could help,
Roasted.
but I also hope that you are growing as a person and finding your peace in life.
I'm normal, right?
But also, I think it's just because, like, you guys are talking about a lot about Punch, but I went to, like, maybe 2 Punch shows.
Yeah.
Because I was too
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, you're a
I
child.
wasn't allowed in.
An actual child.
Yeah.
But because of that, Sure Thing was just more special because it was like, if I wasn't busy, my mom would be like, okay, you want to go see Sure Thing? Yeah, sure. I don't have anything to do. It's fun.
That's very cool, and I love getting to be someone's memory. That's amazing. I'm verklempt.
You know, I've seen so many magical moments at Sure Thing, and I can think of Martin Urbano when he was doing his throwing away the posy
Yeah.
pictures. Kat Renzimski soon after she was attacked.
Yeah.
That happened pretty soon after, and she came, just mesmerizing.
Yep.
Brooks Wheelan. I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember that.
That was a great show.
That was just incredible to watch.
Yeah.
And Richard, our web guru, just went to go see John Oliver, and Brooks is opening for John Oliver.
Yeah.
And I have these vivid memories, and I'm wondering, do you have vivid memories of I'm sure you have many, at least 500, by the time this comes out, at least 500 or 512.
Sure.
Are there any that particularly stand out for you, even not just as Sure Thing, but as Brendan or as Duncan?
Oh man, I wish I had a better pat answer for this because people have been asking it, but the truth is 500 plus shows really do blur together. Like it was more just like a smear of happy emotion for a chunk of my life,
Yeah, it's I'll say, I think we've talked about this before, you and me, where just like the first like half of 2012 is etched really well in my mind. Because in February, we turned the show into Sure Thing. That's when we changed the name. And I remember that very first one really well. Because there was Cubist headlines.
Yep, free week.
But then we had 3 like LA dudes. Dave Ross was one of them.
Huh.
And a couple other guys. And we're still like, what? This is 2012. We're 2 years, 3 years into comedy or whatever, tops. And you really want to impress those dudes. They're from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And they're, especially Dave Ross, he was running Holy Fuck at the time.
Yeah.
Very well-known independent show out there. And so...
and a partial inspiration for this show as well.
Yeah.
Holy
yeah.
fuck.
So that was the first show with the name Sure Thing, with the arrows. Everybody crushed. And I think I remember texting you after where I was like, that was like a festival, but like we did it. Like...
Yeah.
And then it was like 2 months later was the first South by where we got a bunch of cool, crazy guests. And then like a month after that was a show in April that we mention all the time where we had Joe DeRosa.
Yes, I love telling that story.
Who came and did like a 20-minute guest spot, and McRae was headlining, and he was like, in my mind, ridiculously nervous for somebody of his stature. But he's like, I don't want to follow this guy. We're like, of course you can follow. Like, you're great. We're not going to put him after you. You're the headliner. We didn't know if he would make it or not.
Yeah.
And that was the night Mike McRae did the bit about the Boston Bomber marathon thing.
That was the debut?
It was the
Not
next
only debut,
day.
it was the day after. The Boston Marathon bombing happened on a Friday.
Yeah.
And the next day,
He had that
Mike
whole-
did that bit. And if you've seen Mike McRae do stand-up in the last few years, he still does it. It's and he did it fully formed. I'm sure he's found beats or jokes in it, but like it was the whole thing.
And he literally led with it after he'd been talking about like, oh, I can't follow Joe DeRosa. And it's the next day, and when he starts the bit, it's a recent tragedy in the news, so the whole crowd is like dead silent. And then when he finds the angle of like, because the dude hid in a boat, and you're like, that boat was already a sore spot in that marriage. I told you when you bought that fucking boat, like it just leveled the room. Like I'll never forget that moment standing on
Have I
that.
seen that?
I don't think you have.
Now I really
No.
want to see that.
I was standing on the
It's
ramp.
so good.
I was standing on the ramp
Yeah.
next to Joe, and DeRosa like that bit's going on, and it's just killing. And DeRosa's literally just like, man, I'm glad I already went. Jeez, like he didn't want to follow it. It was such a good, but also it was so fresh, and for it to have come that way,
Yeah.
every comic was just like, how is he doing this?
So yeah, that first winter, spring of the show of calling it Sure Thing, and like getting cool guests and really feeling like, oh, this could go on for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, the South by Southwest shows were also really fun.
Yeah.
We were free, and that coincided, with when, because I think South by has really pared back its comedy offerings at this point. Like they really ballooned at one point, but we were on that same arc with like our show picking up steam right as they were booking gigantic lineups. And for a couple of years there, we would literally just be, all right, who's the most famous person who will return a text, right? And we had some shows that were, that normally we would put out like seating for like 65 or so at Java, and there was room in the back to stand. Those shows, we took all the tables and chairs out, standing room only, and we got, fire code violating numbers of people in
Like
there.
over
It was
100
super
for
fun.
sure. Those are probably the biggest shows we've ever put on.
As Sure Thing.
Like,
Yeah, for sure. Those were fantastic, and I'm trying to think if there's. Also the one I telling is Hannibal Buress texting me asking to do the show during South by, then bailing on it, and then talking shit about us on stage at Doug Loves Movies
On a podcast.
Although to his credit, I just like telling the story because okay, whatever. Like somebody said, do this show. He reached out, can I do it? Great. And then he didn't make it. It's because he did Doug Loves Movies instead. But I was texting because it was at the same time as I was like, hey man, do you need me to send an Uber? Right? Like, because we thought he was doing the show.
Yeah.
And apparently he was reading the text on stage. It was like, somebody wants me to do the show. I ain't doing that fucking show.
I'm not going to do it.
And then he was nice to say like, oh, that's called Sure Thing. I heard it's a great show.
It's a good show.
But I didn't know this until 2 weeks later when people who were listening to Doug Loves Movies were like, oh, hey, Hanover, talk shit about you guys.
That is literally because, like, I'll have coworkers that are not like, and honestly, stand up, and that's where you're like, well, people talk about this show in 10 years. I'm like, I don't think people talk about whatever the pinnacle of stand up is in 10 years.
Yeah, it's true.
Because the whole time it's been running, I'll have coworkers who are like, who's the most famous person that's like done your show? And I'll do all the actual like names, and they're like, and I'm like, well, Hannibal Buress almost did it, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, and that's fine too. The truth is, like the most famous people who do the show, all then get famous from not doing stand up primarily. Like,
yeah,
that's just part of it. Like, because
that's true. We could drop all the SNL related people, and they'll be like, oh, great. I'm like, yeah, see,
right.
Yeah.
Sometimes stand ups get on SNL, so.
Brooks did the show after he'd been fired from SNL.
That's true.
Yeah.
It came up on stage, as I recall.
There you go. I think so. I would like to describe that performance from the audience perspective as meltdown.
Oh, wasn't that long after either, was it?
Yeah.
It was like, I think it was like the summer after he,
Yeah.
I don't know him it was super nice.
He crushed.
But we're not buddies. I can't like speak as though I know.
He crushed. That was also lucky insofar as it was like the first weekend of South by, at least that long ago, there were like 1 million comics.
Yeah.
And we got 4 or 5 or whatever. The second week, there's not that many big names like left hanging out. Yeah. So to get him to close with half an hour was super fun.
Yeah. It was a blast.
Yeah. Well, Duncan, I hear that you've got something brewing in the works post ST 512. Can we call it that? Can we brand it ST 512?
ST 512.
I think you just did.
That might be a hashtag.
Also, I have to say shout out and give it to Joe Fana because we were like literally looking at like, okay, so we'll end it at the end of September, like nice round, like start end of the month.
Timed out well.
And it was Joe Fana who was here. He just happened to be hanging out like right before we did the 500 show. He was in town hanging out, and he was like, you don't want to go to October? I was like, what? Why? He's like, because then you do 512. And I'm like,
Genius.
It is embarrassing how many conversations we've had about this, and it never occurred to us to end it. Like, because we were literally targeting 511 shows, not realizing
511.
And then when he said it, we're like, well, that's just too cute not to do.
Yeah.
So shout out to Joe Fana. We love you, buddy.
So your last sure thing is October 6th, and you'll never believe it, a week from that day, in the same time slot,
Really?
a new show premieres.
What?
This word hasn't made it to you at all?
No.
It's called Fallout Tonight.
What?
And there will still be a few stand-up spots, but the rest of it will be more of a late-night, sort of vintage Conan feel, hosted by yours truly. And I can't believe the theater has said yes to this on a certain level.
Your confidence has always been a highlight of your personality, Duncan.
You're the only person that's ever said that.
Yeah, she was being facetious, idiot.
No, I remember it.
I'm sorry, you're not an idiot. I just see the New York comics call each other that all the time. You fucking cunt.
I remember vividly on a previous one of these where you described me as confident, and I was like, if you say so. But, to move forward, it was a thing where I'm like, I want to involve as many more of my friends on a regular basis as I can. So it'll be fun to still do a few stand-up
spots. It takes that many people to make up for me.
Yeah,
it really does.
Exactly.
And that's so it's going to be sort of opening with a monologue and have sketches and stuff that involve a lot more of the non-stand-up Fallout community. And because I had a long time to think about what I wanted to do in the wake of the show. And if there's like I said, the reason we came back is because this theater reached out and was looking for solid programming. And if they trust me, as they've given me the green light to sort of take the name of the theater itself and make a new thing, I want to involve all the desk people do sketch and improv and stuff too, and the tech, and just make it a whole more sort of anything goes kind of vibe.
Wow.
Because
I am excited to come see it, and I just want to say for everybody who doesn't know this, Duncan, as funny as he is a multi-hyphenate talent. He truly is a gifted musician, songwriter, singer, plays keys, plays other things as well. But Duncan has a lot more to give than I let him give as part of the show.
what?
I keep it tight. I say, Duncan, you keep your set exactly 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to blow the light every week.
He's gonna do 15.
Yeah.
Well, because that's the thing where it's like I'm about to turn 40 next year, and there's only so much you can do doing stand up in general, which isn't to say there's
Sorry.
What's that?
You said doo-doo.
I said doo-doo.
I'm sorry.
Look at that.
I'm sorry.
So I think to just keep it a straight stand-up showcase was never interesting to me moving forward.
Yeah.
And obviously the name is like our name. It's the two of us. It'll continue to be the record label and a brand unto itself. And I'll always be the guy that co-hosted that. But I think especially with the amount of stand-up here, there's just a room for like a new kind of thing.
Yeah.
And which is, so I'm sure other people have done like topical sketch like stuff. Esther's Follies does it 5 times a week, but this will be smarter than that. I don't know. I said that on mic. I stand by it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fine.
excited to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. So it's interesting that Brendan, you're dealing with the end of something, the showcase, and then leaving everything that you've known for the last 12 years.
Yeah, and then killing myself.
Well, hopefully not,
No.
because you still got the record label. So
And a whole life ahead of me.
He's also
point.
married and like
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and there's that. And then your balancing act is the end of the showcase, but also the excitement, the nerves, the excitement about starting something new.
You have to stimulate a whole different part of your, like, you have a lot more, dare I say, you have to come up with more content. You have to,
Yeah.
And I mean, the problem, as hard as it is to keep up with the stand-up scene, right? At least I know stand-up. At least I can go to a show. I'm on a show. I can, I can see other comics out there, whatever, right? Like the variety show, you're on the hook to provide some fucking variety, my friend.
Yeah.
Like, so that's a lot. That's a lot more, mental and talent muscles to have to flex every week.
Yeah, I've been sort of nervous about it. I won't lie. Yeah. Although last week I did sort of a experiment, and we're recording this months before the show actually starts. So I did just like a hypothetical writer's room night. Like if the show were this week, what would we do? And it was really fun, and it gave me a lot of confidence moving forward. It's like all my previous few day jobs, I keep getting promoted to middle management. And then for some dumb reason, like a pandemic or a boss that doesn't like me or AI took my last job or whatever. I swear to God. Yeah. I was writing web content, and out of nowhere, in March, they were like, "Yeah, we don't need you guys anymore." Look at that.
Oh, you're like John Henry, just watching the steam-powered train leave you in the fucking dust.
It's a good thing I didn't mention earlier that's what all my friends are trying to go into.
Ugh, of course they are.
Writing AI code.
Yeah,
cool.
Let's double down on the thing that's specifically about eliminating people.
I, for one, welcome our new robot overlords. And it can be of assistance, sending living humans into their sugar mines.
So if it, and if it succeeds, it'll succeed on the strength of having done this for 12 years and learned so much from this guy about how to be a professional.
You are goddamn right, it will.
But that was the other thing last week. In this new show, it'll be an experiment in being the one solo in charge.
Yeah.
Which it's been very nice for 11 years when people put me on the spot. Like, hey, can I headline? I'm like, let me talk with Brendan.
I know, right?
We gotta huddle up. It's so complicated, You don't even. I do have a couple of producers enlisted in helping with this thing, which will already be nice because Lisa Friedrich's one of them. Oh, yeah. And she was like, "How do you want to handle it when you have to choose one sketch or one character versus another thing?" I'm like, I might say I'm gonna huddle up with my producers.
Can I also just call one thing out about Lisa, because
Please.
we love Lisa and I loved hearing this, but Lisa, as part of the Fallout inner circle, part of ownership, was privy to the knowledge the show was ending before anybody else. And Duncan told me that one of the first things that happened after I sent the email, right, was you got back channeled.
She texted me, just saying a very polite sort of, if you're looking to just keep doing the sure thing and need a replacement co-host, like she's always around.
Oh.
You know?
And I just had to call that out and say, Lisa, I know it was you. I know you tried.
Man.
I know you tried to get into my seat, and I love and respect you all the more for it. Truly, that is the highest compliment that can be paid, that somebody would want to jump in on this thing and like keep it going, because as Duncan said, like, you know, we're just a stand-up showcase. So what makes this thing unique in any way? And we kept coming back to is like, it's us. I think that a stand-up comedy show takes on the personality of the people who run it, and our friendship and our dynamic and the way we work together and what we like about each other and about comedy and stuff has really guided so much of what happened in the show. And I'm joking around, but like, I think Lisa would be tremendous at co-hosting this, whatever. Ultimately, sure thing is sure thing, and we still have other things we want to do, hopefully. So, but yeah, I just wanted to call that out, because I thought that was fucking cool. Well, I thought it was cool, and I just want to note she didn't never asked me about it. Never asked me what I thought about it. So thanks, Lisa.
Well, it did lead to her joining as a producer on the new thing, along with Mason Pitluck, who's the artistic director here. And so it's very humbling. I'm going to need a lot of help with the new variety show format. But at the end of the day, when I was deciding how to keep going, you know, there's nobody can replace this guy. Let's just say that.
Can I do your new show?
Yeah.
Cool. Do I have to do stand-up?
And not if you don't want to.
Cool.
Wow, look at that.
I've always wanted to learn how to do how to
That's what I was
spin.
thinking.
I've always wanted to learn how to spin plates on pool cues.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
How would you feel if we revived our old sketch comedy act, Jeff and Kathy Chit Chat Show?
I'd have to see a clip.
Do you have a new email address set up to receive this shit?
Not yet. I will, though. It'll be easy to find probably at this point.
Submissions
In the
at
future.
Fallout Tonight.
I don't think I've performed since I was.
You know what?
Yeah,
Mason
12.
said they could probably do this. It's going to be tonight at fallouttheater.com.
Well, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
a
Oh.
branded email.
My
So
goodness.
legit. Look at
My
that.
goodness.
It'll just be a Gmail relay. Don't worry about it.
I mean, we were legit. We were on Rob's show, which is, you know, the pinnacle of experimentation.
Sandbox.
Yeah.
Sandbox is a
Sandbox.
very important influence on wanting to get that kind of excitement
Yeah.
in this same space.
Yeah,
So yeah.
cool,
And we
cool.
did multiple shows.
Yeah, I think we did 4 or 5.
Someone
sketches.
laughed at least once.
Well, fucking pull
He's
those
a
scripts out,
killer.
polish them up.
Yeah.
He's a killer.
Sandbox
Killer.
music would not be a huge part of my life if Rob hadn't bullied me into doing music on his show. Yeah.
All right, you guys have a show to get ready for in
I
a
guess
bit.
we do.
We surely do at times.
So,
It's almost 9.
is there a? Good Lord, that went by so
We're
fast.
fine.
Is there something that you know, as the happy trails, the horse rides off into the sunset, that you want people to know? Other than, you know, you guys are best pals, always will be. no matter
That's
what.
our message.
Yeah.
We're best buds. We want people to know. Just thanks, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely. Bottom of our hearts, thank you for everything. And go make your own thing. Go do something.
Mm-hmm.
Go make a thing, and it doesn't have to be because you want people to follow it on TikTok, or it doesn't have to be because you think it's going to go for 11 years. It doesn't have to be for any other reason than you feel the urge to do it, and you have people that you love that you want to do it with. So go make stuff. Keep making things. Go make something different.
Perfect. Do you want to add anything?
Thank you guys.
Thank you, buddy.
You're welcome,
We're
dude.
gonna give Travis shit on the show because you're 17 now.
Almost.
Al-
Basically.
about to be 17,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's this is the Travis
The
birthday.
young
episode.
senior.
God.
Yeah.
That's right. Your mom
young
your mom sent
senior.
me a list of comics that are your favorites,
Yeah, I know.
and I had to pretend that I was going to book based on that. But luckily, like literally, we had already lined up a
Amazing.
headliner who was on that list.
Yeah,
So,
no,
look at
that's
that.
quite lucky.
so it worked out great.
And last show was also a good one.
That's true. That's true. 2 weeks in a row for you guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents Duncan Carson and Brendan K. O'Grady of ST512 fame. Tell us where we can find you on social media and upcoming shows and projects.
Well, we talked about your
Fallout tonight.
upcoming, yeah.
Yeah, Fallout tonight. It'll be easy to find. It's in the same spot. I'm a Duncan Carson on Threads and Instagram. Hey,
Your debut is on Friday the 13th.
it sure is.
I just realized I have to. I'm going to finish this fucking show.
Yeah.
And not have a Friday. Something to do.
Yeah.
And the first Friday off, I have to come to your first goddamn show.
'Cause
You
you're
couldn't
best
give me a week
pals.
off. You couldn't give me a week off.
You're not obligated.
Yeah, he says that. He says that. Follow at SureThingATX on the social medias. Social medias. There will still be things. There will be records. There will be
Where to find the
hopefully
label.
shows in
Yeah.
the future. And hell, it's probably going to be my only connection to the Austin comedy scene. So I'll still be the one working that Instagram.
Yeah.
I'll still be at the other end of that line.
Follow this guy on the gram. You're gonna do like all the Friday shows you couldn't do.
That's true. But I'm still private because I still have my job.
That's too bad.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't follow me. I've said it before. Come see me in real life. Comedy's more fun in real life. Come to see comedy.
It is. We hope you've enjoyed hearing about how Duncan and Brendan continue to be the comedic geniuses that you heard today and that you've heard over the last 6-7 years talking to us every damned year except for one when we got in trouble. This has been Comedy Wham Presents Duncan Carson and Brendan K. O'Grady of Sure Thing and Sure Thing Records. I'm Valerie.
I'm Travis.
And that's been funny. Thank you, Duncan and Brendan.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you both. We love you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.